Yo, what's good? Welcome to Counter Currents. It's your host, Petey Steele.
And your co-host, Elena Torres. And today, Petey and I said, we want to do an episode for us.
Yo, local.
So, exactly. Local stuff, people that we like. We love having the headliners, but we want to have, one where we know about their journey in comedy and we get to just like buck around and have a good time. So everybody, please welcome two of the funniest people that we know, also good friends of ours, Benedi and Nicole Walkow.
Bang, 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 bang.
Hey.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for coming on, you guys.
Oh, I'm really glad I put the computer up a little bit because the dog's on the table, and just right now, his butthole would have been like perfectly aligned if my computer wasn't on something. Yeah. So
I have a feeling we're gonna see the butthole at some point during this podcast.
You better.
This is so gross, but our dog insists on being on the kitchen table when we're sitting here trying to work or something. Luckily, when we're eating, it doesn't do that. But so the whole
bullshit. I want a plate full of salad tonight.
Oh, it disappeared. Why does that happen?
I don't know.
You see.
So Nicole left.
Dog vanished.
This is the first family guest. Like, you guys really are. You look like a family right now. This is our first family guest that we've ever.
Oh, thank you.
Had.
Yes, indeed. So, me and Nicole had a great car ride to Hanover last week to do Church of Satire, which, kind of is competition to Arlington, but I'll let it slide because it only holds like 15 people. So
definitely not competition to Arlington. It's in a different state. We're allowed to talk about clubs in different states.
Right.
It's just competition with the bar down the street in Hanover.
Yeah. The hot dog place.
Yeah.
Competition. How was it? Was it a good show? What'd you guys talk about on the car ride? Let us know.
We just gossiped on the car ride, right?
Yeah.
We just talk shit about everybody.
Right.
Let's hear it.
Yeah.
One thing that was really cool that I discovered, and you probably know this already, but we were talking about comedy and we were talking about Bill Cosby, and Petey did like an amazing impression of Eddie Murphy doing his bit about Cosby on like Raw. Isn't that what it was on?
Yeah.
But it was so good. And he like knew word for word the whole thing. Who else? I don't know. Any comedian that he would like be talking, he'd like get into there. So it was like super entertaining. So I enjoyed it so much.
Can you do a Bobcat Goldthwait?
No. He's never been really like a favorite of mine. I don't dislike him, but he does everyone else's voices. How can you like pick one,
If you did his voice, I feel like it would just be upsetting.
I just know he has an annoying voice. I don't even know his stand-up.
I was gonna say, I don't even know who that is.
Yeah.
Wow.
Maybe it's
I don't do him from like kids shows back in the day, right? Doesn't he like do a lot of like impersonations for like children's programs, and now he's like 65 and he says cancel culture isn't real? Like, I don't fuck with people like that.
I think he films other comedians' specials, because I've seen him get credit for that.
I heard he's a movie director too. I don't know.
Is the guy who did the Comedy Store documentary?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. I like that.
He's like an 80s comic that sounds like.
Wasn't he in Scrooge?
Yeah, I think he's in Scrooge.
Well, speaking of people with weird voices, and this isn't related to comedy, but I was listening to Mira Sorvino on Mark Maron.
Okay.
Mighty Aphrodite. She has that voice, and then
high
school reunion.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I don't know. I can't really imitate it.
Yeah, she doesn't sound like that at all, but she sounds like that. That whatever you do.
I don't know. It's really hard. It's kind of like
yo.
Yeah. Merstrel. Yeah.
More high school reunion.
Yeah. That's actually really good. I've never seen you do an impression.
Totally useless. Unless you go back to like the 90s. And I did comedy then for all like 10 people that saw Romeo and Michelle's high school
year. What
year.
do you mean? That's a classic.
I love that movie. Yeah.
Me too. It's so good.
But anyway, do you know she went to Harvard and she studied like Eastern, some kind of like, she studied all these classes on China, and she can speak Chinese, and she like lived over there, and it's just really kind of like, wow, you played Michelle or Romy and Romy and Michelle's. I don't know. It just seems like a interesting trajectory.
Right. Hollywood.
Yeah.
Go from Harvard to that, but
Right.
Yeah, those
She got to
red
be a star.
sympathizers always seem, seductive at first.
yeah. Well, she was talking about how, yeah, whatever, but she was talking about all kinds of stuff about China. They didn't get into current. They were talking about when she went to China like 25 years ago, 30 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
I just watched the Kanye West documentary in
Oh,
full.
is that good?
It's insane. I haven't been able to stop thinking about it all day.
Oh, I'll watch
I
it.
want to watch that.
Because
Oh, I
they
should have
filmed.
watched it before this and we could discuss.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I should have said. I just haven't. I finished it last night, and I stayed up really late last night to finish it, and I haven't been able to stop thinking about it all day because, like, the change between Kanye. I won't ruin it for you guys, but the change between
We know he goes
Kanye
nuts.
20 years ago. Yeah, exactly. But you see, he's like a normal person when he's like trying to make it. Like he's a little bit out there, but like normal. Like his voice is different now. Like everything about his cadence is so different now than then. And like seeing it goes from like episode 2 to 3, and 2 is like when he first makes it, to 3 is like current Kanye. Whoa.
So young Kanye sounds like Bobcat Goldthwait.
I know.
He just put out a music video recently, I think today or pretty recently, where he's like a claymation and he's kidnapping Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
He's like burying him up to his neck.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
The big secret with Pete Davidson is that he's like a 300-year-old vampire.
Yeah. He actually looks like one.
Yeah. That's what these women are all, they all really like Twilight.
Right. That's all it is. And
Didn't
Dracula.
Kate Beckinsale, like hunt them?
What?
Kate Beckinsale, didn't she hunt the vampire?
I didn't want to help
She
them.
did, actually.
I thought it was funny for that to just bomb.
She was just with him for research for the park.
Well, Petey would love this, but I told Elena yesterday, I'm like, oh, it'll be fun doing the podcast. I'll be on my period, which means I know that's coming because I start getting mad at Jamie about stuff that doesn't make any sense at all. So if I seem irritated.
What are you mad at him about right now?
The eating chicken, we were doing this at 5.
Oh, yeah.
He
Oh,
came
yeah.
in with chicken like a half hour ago or longer, and he starts eating it at 5 o'clock because he said that you had said you'd be 5 minutes late.
Yeah.
And notice that his hair is like soaking wet. And that's about it. But I forgive him for.
I'm just sweating a lot.
Yeah, he's just really greasy.
Okay.
Yeah, I could see how he'd be a real bastard when
Yeah.
you're period.
Well,
A lot of people are real bastards when we're on our periods.
yeah, I don't know why. I haven't really done like a podcast thing or something in a while. So I'm thinking like, why the hell am I talking about my period? Why did you tell them that? It's a little bit too much information. And then I remember.
We're just all looking for reasons to hate Jamie, so it's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, the chicken.
one funny thing about Jamie. So for anyone that's listening, he wrote a book, which is hilarious, called The Slappening. And it's like, what is it? Like 300 pages or something? It's long, but it like reads really quick, but it's this wonderful book, but Jamie just keeps giving them away.
Oh yeah.
What are you?
I'm like, how are you supposed to sell books? It's like, I don't know.
I don't know. I sold like.
Dude, I feel like I'm on my period now. What the fuck,
Yeah.
Jamie?
Exactly.
I don't know. I tried to like. I told Nicole I tried to sell weed once in high school for like a week, and I was just really bad at it because I kept like giving people deals, and I would, like I just felt bad charging people. Like I don't know. It's
How long did it take you to finish a 300-page book?
It took me probably like 2 to 3 months to write it, and then it.
I know it's fast, but he was just like,
that's like
into
no
it.
time. Wow.
And then
Yeah, but too much time to give it away free.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like she told Jamie, let me tell you something. When she told me about it in the car ride, I'd known about it, but it served as like a point of embarrassment for me to be your friend, and I haven't even shelled out my money on Amazon.
Well, I'll give it to you now.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
Yeah.
haven't dug into my. You shouldn't feel bad about demanding money for 2 to 3 months of work.
That's
I think
right.
it was longer than the thing is he says 2 to 3 months, but he's been writing like every day for years. So it's kind of like when even a comedian gets a really good opportunity, it's like, whoa, they're like came out of nowhere. It's like, no, they've been working on this for years and years and years.
It's like Gatsby, man. Scott Fitzgerald, he said there's no such thing as good writing, only good rewriting.
That's
As
right.
he died penniless from alcoholism.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the
Wife
book.
was named Zelda, for fuck's sake.
This is happening. So tell the people what it's
Why
about.
are you
Oh, there
Tell
we
the
go.
people what it's about. Give us a little summary.
Yeah, what's the blurb?
So I'm just a big fan of horror movies, so and especially slashers. So it's basically an 80s slasher, except the killer slaps people to death, and all of the main characters are elderly.
Representation.
So
Yeah,
like
Representation. Wow.
I just kind of wanted to take all the horror movie tropes where they're always teenagers trying to like have sex with each other, and I wanted them to be old people trying to have sex with each other.
Which, by the way, they have a lot of sex. And those
Yeah,
are,
exactly.
there's a lot of sex going on.
Those STDs are rampant.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
are.
In the nursing homes, yup.
Yeah.
What's weird is that I've read it like a lot, and
You edited it, right? Don't.
Yeah, she edited it.
Yeah.
but what's weird to me is that even though it's a slasher and even though it's gory and people are dying, it like actually makes getting older seem like kind of fun in a weird way. Cause like it shows, I feel like we think of like the elderly as just kind of like, oh, what are we gonna do with them? And like they go to like put them in a retirement community or nursing home, and these people, you know, they all lived long lives and they're like very I don't know, multifaceted, or I don't know how you describe them, but they're also really funny and they're having sex.
Yeah. They're all kind of weird. Like there's this guy named Mario. He's like a 7-foot ex-professional wrestler, and he just calls everyone jabronis and like smacks old women's asses. So,
Of course. Yeah.
so it's some weird cast.
And
of
there's a guy
characters.
named Gurf Yellowbird who
Yeah.
has a prosthetic nose and a metal foot.
Yeah, he has a rubber nose and a metal foot.
The main character, I guess, or the protagonist is a guy named Fred who's like 90 years old
Oh yeah, and he has a walk.
with the tennis balls like on the bottom of the walker.
Yeah.
It's really good. I feel like it's one of those books too that like people that don't really read that much, they'll read it because it's like
Right.
I know I read a lot of thrillers because I just get bored. I need something to make me want to keep reading. And so
Right.
I feel that way with this.
What made you, how long ago did you come up with the idea? Did you originally always want to do it as a book, or how did you flesh
Well,
that out?
The idea came from I did Pete Musto's podcast, and we were talking about like slasher movies and stuff.
Okay.
And then we're talking just about serial killers, and there's like a lot of stranglers and butchers and stuff when
Right.
like the Southside Strangler, stuff like that.
And the Hillside Strangler.
Yeah, the
Yep.
Hillside Strangler.
A lot of side stranglers.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, no one's ever been called like the something slapper, like someone
Yeah.
slaps people to death like a serial killer. And that's kind of like where the idea came from. And for years I had been kind of saying how these horror movies always use these young kids,
Yeah.
like teenagers, and it would just be funny if they had like older people playing all those roles. Kind of like they're going out to party and they're like all trying to get like laid and they're like buying beer and stuff. So
Yeah.
kind of like the inspiration, those two ideas kind of come.
And how was it working together with Nicole editing it for you? Did you guys like find a balance? Do you take feedback well, Jamie? I feel like you probably do.
I do. Nicole's really good. Like if I don't agree with something, she'll like we'll just move on.
Yeah, like I think you kind of like set up your, like if it's the whole time I was working on it, it's his book. And so like if I have a suggestion or something, I tell him like, don't feel bad. You can just be like, nope. And then we'll just move on. And so it's kind of like that. Like if I had but a lot of times he would take the feedback and
She's really good. Like
Yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, you guys are both so funny and talented writers. I would just feel like it's hard in a relationship because tell me if you feel this way with writing, but I get sometimes like very attached to writing, and for my day job, screenwriting stuff, like I'll get notes from people and I'll be like very angry. Maybe it's just my anger problem, but I just get very angry sometimes when people tell me to change something, and it's hard to let that go.
No, I get, he's
Sometimes.
actually really good at taking the feedback, whether he uses it or not is,
Right.
but I'm not, because I've been asking him forever. My biggest thing in stand-up is that I have so many jokes. I've been compiling them so I can do like a longer set and have it all like organized.
Mhm.
And I get like obsessive about the order, because it really does make a difference. If you have them in like an order, you can like really fuck up your set. Like if you, I don't know, I have tried all these different things. And sometimes it also becomes like rote if I'm doing some of the same jokes. So, but
Right.
I've asked him to help with that, and he'll like make a suggestion, and I'll like be like immediately defensive and no. Or lately what I'm doing, I'll give him like a bunch of my jokes, like, well, what order would you put them in? And I actually, sometimes it actually works, but sometimes like he'll give me a tag and I'll do it and it'll completely bomb.
Does it, and if he does that, does it make you feel almost better? Be like, see, don't fucking get on my joke.
I tell the audience and they're like, who cares? We don't know what you're even talking about.
Yeah.
Like, my boyfriend gave me that tag.
Yeah, the joke will like eat shit and then she'll blame it on me on stage.
Actually, a great idea.
You ever like get mad at him and just say, hey, you might as well like take my suggestions. You're not going to sell the book anyway.
No, I would never say that. Plus, I'm financially invested in this. Like, he told me originally that if I'll get 20% of the sales, and then somehow it just moved to 7% of the sales. And now I think I'm just at nothing. So
She doesn't have to pay renter's insurance.
yeah, my
Yeah.
renter's insurance is waived every month, which is like, what, I think it's like $10 a month,
No, it's like $750.
$7.50.
We split it.
Jamie, what's that change in the deal about? From 20 to 7%.
I know.
We didn't sign a contract and I don't know.
Well, you know what they say. Writers plan their life around. No, wait, what is it? Never mind. Fuck that.
I love that quote.
That's a good quote, actually.
Yeah, great. Yeah.
That's
Great
excellent.
quote.
That's a good, I feel like, Elena, your motto should be fuck everyone.
Yeah, fuck everyone. I have been
lately.
angrily texting Nicole that for the past couple of days.
It's a good attitude to have. I mean, because you can't
Yeah.
control anything that anybody else is doing. You can't control
I
how
know.
the entertainment industry.
I know it's still, I'm not at that like Zen level yet though. Like I still get really angry. I'll have these like bursts of anger about comedy for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I just think so many people that we do comedy with are stupid losers. Oops. This is, by the way, speaking of elderly people, this is my grandpa, but dialing me on FaceTime audio. That's what my grandpa, I don't know if you can see grandpa cell. He butt dials me on FaceTime audio like twice a day.
Is this the one that's in the slappening?
He's a lot like that. He's in his 90s. He uses a walker. Actually, this is true. My grandpa is like the hottest guy in the retirement community. And my grandma has dementia. And as soon as she really like started to fall and be sort of like, she's, she doesn't recognize me anymore. Like as soon as that started to happen, like every time we would go to the retirement community, there would be all these women like surrounding my grandfather in front of my grandma because she forgets every 10 minutes, just like
just like shuffling over,
just like flirting with him. Like my cousin, one of my cousins, she's like kind of crazy, like wanted to beat one of these bitches up because she is like, how dare she in front of our grandma? These bitches have no shame. She was like gonna beat up some old lady who was like trying to flirt with my grandpa.
It's crazy though, isn't there like 10 women to every guy or something like that? Like the men greatly outnumbered.
Oh, I didn't know. That's
Yeah.
cool.
I guess because women live longer, but there's always, so if there's a new guy, it's like, ooh, fresh meat, even though it's like incredibly old meat.
Right.
And my dad must have been real frustrated in there because all he did was punch one.
Wait, what?
He
fucking punched a lady in the retirement home. He went into arts and crafts and he started doing because he's an ex-professor. So he started doing his professorial thing where he's putting his hand up in the air, giving a speech that makes no sense. And one of them's just like, this is arts and crafts. And he just walks up and like slapped her. And to me, it was kind of like release of tension, I think, from like not being able to do that in his real 40 years of being so it was overdue. But they didn't feel that way. And the next day I got a call like, we're going to have to move him to another place, because when something like that happens, you have to write up something and it gets submitted to the state, like an assault kind of thing and all that shit. And then they had to have him on 24-hour one-to-one supervision, and it costs all this fucking money. Oh, it's a headache. But yeah, man.
Oh my gosh.
I would pay money to see that.
Yeah, that
I
would.
would've too. In fact, I did pay
Meanwhile-
money and I didn't get to see it. I'm fucking kind of pissed.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
left out the part where all the other old people just started applauding.
Yeah.
I should have
Yeah.
demanded evidence before they had
Yeah.
any fucking talk of moving them anywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was thinking, taking them on their word and shit, you know?
There's something satisfying about like a really loud slap. Like if you ever hear one like really just connect with the cheek in the right way.
Hell yeah.
True. I haven't heard that sound in so long.
Yeah.
We used to have to do it silently in telenovelas, and they would add the sound on later.
Oh, it's like WWE.
Yeah, there's a lot of that in telenovelas, and you have to just be quiet, and they add, and you have to do like a.
Well, back to what you were saying about getting frustrated in comedy.
Oh yeah.
It's weird. It's like trying to find that fine line between like caring too much and not caring at all. It's not a fine
Yeah.
line, it's something being somewhere in the middle. Cause I feel like your stuff comes from, you actually really care. You like really want to like work and do this. And it's not just like a scene thing or a social thing. So
Right.
that's really annoying. But
Right.
Petey and I were talking about comedy in the car ride a lot. What was that? Who was that coach that you were talking about? That woman that coached that boxer?
Yeah, Ann Wolf.
Yeah, you should
And-
watch that video. What was her whole thing?
Oh, her whole thing was she'd been training this heavyweight championship contender, and he was winning under her. She's like a hard ass ex-convict female boxing champion. Like you watch her highlight reels of knockouts, and she like fucking knocks the soul out of like people. It's unbelievable.
Wow.
But she was training this guy, and then the guy quit her pretty much because of old garden variety sexism. He was getting ribbed on by his buddies. You know, you got a woman training you, la, 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 la. So she went to this fight where he had stopped having her as a trainer
Mhm.
and watched him get knocked out in 3 rounds by Canelo. This is James Kirkland. And they asked her, they were like, so what did you think about the performance? And she's just like, well, if ifs, ands, and buts was candy, cherries, and nuts, we'd all be Merry Christmas, but it ain't. And she's
My
just
God.
ripping.
Advice. That's what
Yeah.
I wanted to know.
Bullshit. It was amazing. It's such a good clip. I forgot to send it to you, Nicole. I know I told you I would.
Yeah, but she just goes on and on about what basically the hard work that goes into and the people that are willing to do that. And
Right. And she's like, the end of the day, you know, this game is get in the ring, punch you in your face, kicking your goddamn teeth out, you know, like that. It's like, this ain't no bullshit. You know, you got to love to fight more than the game, getting your face on TV and all this Hollywood bullshit, you know. And even though we do Hollywood bullshit in
Yes.
comedy, there's something to be said where, you know, you're on that stage alone. As she says, the fighter's in the ring, the fighter does all the fighting. But, you know, then she says it's crucial you have a good team behind you that makes you do the shit you don't want to do. But at the end of the day, all of us, it's make people fucking gut laugh, do it again, set up punch. That's a kill. Like this other stuff, oh, you're really hot, so I'm going to, you know, give you this show or this unlimited spots at the hot local comedy club or
Right.
whatever the fuck. All the other things that don't make for a great comic, in the long run, that's not going to serve you or anybody.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. There's
Well
the
said.
other thing about comedy is it's so subjective. It's so like back to there was a scene in the Kanye documentary that reminded me so much of doing comedy. So before he made it, he used to like go into, because he would make beats for like all these rappers. So he knew he had all these connections, right? So he went into the Rockefeller offices and just would like play his music and like rap to the people like while they were working in their office, like trying to convince them to sign him. But there's one point where he's performing All Falls Down and like giving it like all his energy. He like puts, and they're in front of like a secretary, and she's just sitting there like, and she's getting a private concert from Kanye West of All Falls Down, like revolutionary song from a revolutionary album. Petey, no matter how you feel about it. But like the secretary is just like, she looks so bored and like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, that's what comedy feels like. You're just like pouring your heart out half the time at like some shitty bar in front of one person, and they're just like, what?
Yeah.
And it can be like the best jokes of all time.
Yeah.
I don't wanna be here.
Become real.
I'm gonna walk into Deloitte and just start doing. So we had to get my dog neutered because he kept trying to fuck my boyfriend.
It's true.
It's true, actually.
Actually
And it didn't work, but at least now we know it's
Really?
wrong.
No, he kept humping me afterwards.
Yeah.
Did it chill out at all?
A little bit. It's chilled out now. Now he just like wants to like bite me, like playing, and like sometimes it really hurts. So.
Wow.
They play like really rough. I mean, it's like why to like latch onto his arm and flip around. He's flipping him around. I mean, I don't play with him like that at all. So it's like very much their like male thing. But yeah.
Yeah, but that is true though, that comparison with the Kanye West thing in the comedy, because the last show I did pretty well, and then last night I did a show, and I could just, when you are doing your bits and there's just something not connecting, like there's something off in the energy in the room, or like there's something in the air or something.
Yeah,
totally.
A few people doing that like blank stare, like where I can't tell if they hate me or if they're like falling asleep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just such a bad set. And then it was one of those sets. I mean, I didn't bomb or anything, but I wasn't happy with the set at all.
Right.
But it was one of those times where I was just watching everyone else go up, and no one was killing, but they're all doing decent. And I had a feeling like most of them were new comics. And then I've been doing it for a little while now, and I went up and just had this like fucking weird set.
Oh, the worst.
Yeah.
That's a little worse when you're just like, oh, this crowd is so good, I'm gonna crush it. Like these comedians are so much worse than me, and you get up and just eat a dick.
Yeah.
I feel like you learn more though. You definitely learn more from the shitty experiences. Although after having so many shitty experiences, when I finally started getting laughs, it would like freak me out to have that sudden response from the audience. And I would like step on the laughs, and
I still do
Yeah,
that.
it throws you off when you haven't had a hit in a while and you start like, what's happening?
yeah.
Yeah,
What
I
have I
still do that.
blocked?
Well, Elena, you'll appreciate this, and I'm sure the rest of you will as well. But I feel like as for female comics, it's like you just get so used to seeing, especially women in the audience like this, just looking at you, just refusing to laugh, that like just try and make me laugh.
Yeah.
Well, I was at a show, and I won't say who, but I was at a show over the weekend, and there were these guys sitting in the front row, and they were like slumped back like this, watching all the comics not laughing. And I went up, and they did not, I noticed them, but didn't faze me at all. I'm so used to people looking at me like that it's not even a thing. But some of the other comics were like, especially one was obsessed with these people in the front, like being like that. Like, why do you come to a show if you're just going to sit there like this the whole time, blah, 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 blah. And I just thought, like, I didn't even really notice that. I was just like, well, it's cool that there's people here and that they, but I mean, it is weird to sit in the front row and just be like that the entire time and miserable. But I don't know. I feel like female comics, it's like immediately when you walk on stage, you're like met with a lot I don't know.
That's why I have to tell them that I had a kid in the first.
Yeah, you have to say
something. I always have to. That changed my comedy life. Like in the first 2 minutes, telling them that I have a kid, and I hate doing a lot of mom jokes, but it's the reaction for some reason. It's like, oh, she's suffered or something. Like I have to, like, because I'm a mom for some reason, and it's like desexualizes me in some way. Like then suddenly I'm much funnier to them.
Yeah, or like
I
I
don't
was
know what
trying
that's
for a
about.
while to say that I'm 40, like right off the bat. So like all
Right.
22-year-olds can fucking relax. I'm not
Yeah.
interested in your little
Yeah.
gross boyfriend. But lately though, I've been trying this new thing where I've been doing the same thing where you kind of have to like get them to be like, it's cool. I'm not here to threaten you or anything.
Right.
But I've been starting out just sounding like I'm a complete idiot. And that's actually been,
Like, what do you mean sounding like you're a complete idiot?
I've been saying like, just a heads up, I ate a bunch of portobello mushrooms before the show. So so I might freak out. Don't get scared. Mushrooms kicking in. This is my first time doing portobellos. And I was just like, kind of like standing there. I don't know, it was just really stupid, but they like kind of like bought it. I feel like some people were actually laughing, not at me in the way you laugh at a comedian, but laughing like this girl is so stupid. And it was great. I had like a great set afterwards. So.
That's so insane that you have to convince the audience that you're literally like a total fucking idiot. And
Yeah,
then
I'm
like,
really
you know what? I'll accept that she does comedy.
Yeah, it was interesting. It's a new thing I'm trying. So
Yeah, that is interesting. I forget who the comic was. They were talking about like smoking weed on stage. Like, and then someone offered them weed when they got off stage, and they're like, "What the fuck, man? I don't do drugs."
Wait, what?
I don't know.
Like
This
a
was
famous person?
No, this was a comic at an open mic. I don't even know who it was.
So that was just their shtick? Was it?
No, it's just funny how the audience like picks up on your jokes, what you're thinking. They try to like figure out who you are based on your jokes. But sometimes,
I used to close on a joke about anal a lot, and a lot of people would come up to me and like tell me about their experiences with anal.
Oh,
Yeah, for sure. Truth.
Right.
Oh, you could write a little book about that.
Yeah. And it was not necessarily people that you want to hear. It was always women who would come up and be like, I know anal's the worst, my boyfriend. And then they would go into this like whole story. And I was like, really didn't.
Did you have any guys say that?
No, I did have one guy come up and be like, I really like that joke. I mean, I used to do a joke about a ball gag. I used to be much dirtier. And a guy came up, he was like, I really love that ball gag joke.
I think I know who that was.
Do you remember? Yeah. And because I thought like everything's so crazy, like like I didn't even think about it. I was like, well, that's weird. And I just like moved. I think you guys were both there. And I just like moved on. And then like 3 different male comics on the show like went and told the producer, being like, this dude said some really creepy shit to Elena.
I remember that.
Do you remember that?
He had a reputation for doing that
Did he really?
to female comics. He was kind of creepy. Yeah.
Interesting considering where this person is now in terms of female comedians. Whatever, we'll talk about that.
All right, well, we should just stop the podcast so I can ask Jamie who the hell you guys are talking about.
Yeah. We'll tell you after, and as soon as we tell you, we'll be like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then I'll think of something really creepy that they said to me.
Yeah.
There's another guy that I don't like mind mentioning his name because I think he's kind of funny. His name's Richard Peng, and supposedly,
Oh, Jesus, you did
would,
not.
like, you know that guy?
Oh yeah.
He would send like messages to everyone like hi Jamie, and then with turtle emojis.
Yeah, he did that to me.
Yeah.
But here goes the thing. He did that to so many girls in comedy that a lot of them just automatically were like, he's a sex offender. And I kind of wanted to jump up and be like, no, I think he's autistic. I mean, he's doing this.
Just hi with turtles? They got upset? That counts?
Probably listening to this right now, by the way. But yeah, that's the thing. Like, he was just nice. Or he's just like kind of friendly and weird. I think
he was a little creepy to some people, but I don't know the full story.
But he never did anything. I mean, there's no rule that you can't just be weird and kind of like strange.
I love the turtles. Everyone.
Turtles.
The funny thing is, you think you're the only one that's happening to. Like, it was happening to me. I'm like, what? And then it turns out I'm like, oh, I'm just one
Oh, he's sending this to Jude
He's
too.
sending it to Petey as well. Copy and paste.
Yeah, I feel like it happened to Ross too. Like he messaged Ross, and Ross was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I just
Ross
thought
has
he was
some pretty-
so socially inept that he might have something extra with him
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
I've never met him. I don't think he does. He doesn't do comedy anymore, right?
Well, he does under a different name, and then somebody
Oh.
called him out online and said he used to harass women, and now he's doing it under a different name. This isn't cool. And he actually was a little sharp about it because he changed his name, and I was like, I think that's him in the picture, but he was wearing a COVID mask. So you couldn't be 100%.
Wow.
He just has a big turtle on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. So it doesn't really matter that we said the name because that person no longer exists.
He uses that name.
They
Yeah.
are formerly known as.
Yeah.
Right.
Artist.
Wonder
Now
how
he's
he-
just turtle emoji.
Yeah. How did he settle on the turtle? That must have been. There's an origin story that I want to know.
Yeah.
You guys should have him on. You can find him.
Yeah. Well, we made that mistake once already, having a local person who's kind of crazy on as a guest. We won't say who. And the Arlington Draft House told us not to release the episode.
Do you guys do this every week?
Yes.
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you feel like you've learned stuff from talking to the headliners?
Petey?
Yes.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, I think we have. I definitely think we have. It definitely, I mean, the most helpful thing is it definitely, Petey, tell me if you feel this way. Like any intimidation of a headliner is like gone. So when you open for people, you just kind of, because I mean, we meet them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like any sort of like, oh, headliner comic, like, I don't know, any of that weird stuff, insecurity stuff, they're doing this, just gone.
Yeah. One leg at a time,
Yeah.
just like anybody else that's doing it. And
Yeah.
they bleed too. And that's that.
Yeah. They're just comics. Like, I don't know. At the end of the day, we're all kind of the same. I mean,
Has there ever been anyone that you interviewed that you were actually like a big fan of? Like,
Oh, yeah.
personally?
Absolutely. I mean, of course, I'm biased because I know her and I do road work with her. But I mean, the times we've had Rachel Feinstein on have just been great. I mean,
she was a great guest. She's a great podcast guest. I think I knew Bobby Lee from LA before, and then he came on our podcast and he was so amazing on the podcast. I thought, even though he got in a fight with Arlington, but it's all cool now. But he talked about it. He talked about it. He talked about it on the podcast with us. And I was like, I love how he's just like no boundaries, like so himself. And because of having him on, and I didn't know about his podcast with his girlfriend, and he told us about it on our podcast. And now I listen to that podcast every week. So I became a fan of him, particularly in podcasting, from him being on our show. And there have been a few people like that we've had on that I didn't know much about them.
Yeah.
And then I saw their comedy and became a fan.
Yeah, Moses Storm was fantastic. That story.
Moses Storm has the most insane. That was the person that I think of everybody, like his story. And he was so open about it. Like his parents were in a crazy cult.
Was he the roast battle guy?
No, he just had a special come out on HBO Max. And a lot of it is about his childhood. And his parents were in a cult. He lived in a van for a while. Like his story is insane. And he lived
in campground, like KOA, campgrounds across America, that shit.
Yeah. He from the first second, we always appreciate people that are authentic, from the first question, he told us everything, which I thought was super interesting and cool.
I'll have to check that
That's
out.
always what I appreciate most with our headliners with podcast guests is when they're just authentic. Because a lot of people will try to do answer questions and that whole oh, my publicist, whatever. But when people are just open, I think that.
Yeah, Felipe Esparza was great too.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
let it all out, and then retweeted us and did shit like that. Jen
Oh yeah, his memory. Remember he remembered what he ordered last time he was in DC. I mean, he remembered like the food at the last club he performed at. That guy's memory was insane.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Dang, I don't have one of those.
Yeah.
He is horrible. Actually, I was listening to an interview with Frankie Muniz, you know, the guy from Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah.
I just
Mhm.
like that. I just saw it when I was looking through her podcast. I was like, what happened to that guy? And so I was listening to it. And he said that apparently he has a memory that's so horrible from just like concussions, and he gets like oral, I don't know how do you say it? Migraines. Not that would affect your memory necessarily, but whatever. But he can't.
Yeah, I was gonna say he said it's
remember.
from concussions. I think I know what it's actually from, but okay.
Well, he said it's from. Oh, what?
It's drugs.
Yeah, it's definitely.
Whenever he was a kid, though, he said he doesn't remember Malcolm in the Middle. I mean, he was like,
His dad was Breaking Bad. He was doing
Yeah,
that.
that's right.
Brian Cranston.
That's right.
or maybe.
They're all, the whole cast was on meth.
Yeah.
Now he's a
That's why
race
he was
car
so good.
driver.
He is?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Now you gotta have a job.
I remember I would see him at like clubs and stuff in LA, and he always had like insane cars, like with the
That's
thing in the back.
It was
Yeah.
Steve-O's podcast, and he was talking to him. That's what he says. Like, I just remember you being like 16 years old, having like the craziest cars.
Yes. Yeah. That's how, like, I remember you would always really know when he pulled up to a place because his cars were like bright green with like they looked like Fast and the Furious.
Oh,
And when he gets out, it's just disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Like, who's letting a child drive that?
Yeah. Yeah. She's just like, what a fucking nerd. Like,
Agent Cody Banks.
yeah.
I just remembered that.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Wow.
The weird pool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what else is going on with you guys?
What else? is with us?
Nothing. We're just so excited to read the Slappening, and then
We
also
are.
watch a certain new podcast coming to the stratosphere. You guys want to?
Oh yeah, we're trying to. Elena,
We're working on it.
we're
Yeah.
working
Nicole
on
and
it.
I are working on another podcast. You know, if you guys are craving Nicole and I on a podcast, you should watch the latest season of Love Island UK. We have a podcast about it called Two Blondes Crack On, a Love Island podcast. You can find it everywhere that you get podcasts. It's just us talking about Love Island. It's pretty great. And we're working on doing something new, but we're working on it still under construction.
Okay.
Trying to figure out. Yeah.
Yeah.
On like, mini podcasts of like, you pick one theme, you do like 6 or 8 episodes, and you switch to something else rather than trying to be like the foremost authority on, I don't know, whatever, and just let it ride for years like some people do. I think this approach is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let it ride for years, like us.
Yeah.
Like this podcast.
Except for
I forget what I was gonna say. Oh, do you guys watch? Elena, you watched Love Is Blind, right?
It did. I haven't finished it yet.
Oh,
I got distracted watching Kanye, but
is it good? Is it worth watching? We
yeah,
started
Josh and I like
watching
to
it.
watch it together. I like it. And I'm very picky with my reality TV. And I liked the first season a lot, and I like this season too.
I feel like it should just be called Surprise, He's Ugly.
Yeah. Well, I guess they pick a city every time. So this season is Chicago, because Josh and I were watching it like
Oh, that
these people are
explains why.
significant- They were like significantly less attractive than
Yeah.
last season. And the last season was in Atlanta. And this season is Chicago. And there's so much, part of the best part of it is there's so much disappointment when they meet.
Oh, that's what I want. I actually
Yeah,
want to.
there's a lot of that because
Oh,
nobody,
that's so
there's not like last time, pretty much everybody's hot. And so much of it was like, oh, they meet and she's hot, so it's fine. But this season, there's a lot of,
Oh, that'd be great.
I really like the guy. He was asking if he could pick her up. He's like, "What?"
oh yeah, on his shoulders. Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was trying to figure out how much she weighed. And he's like,
Yeah.
hypothetically.
Yeah, I was like, that's gross, but also like I kind of get it. Like at least they can get an idea. You know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
feel like if they had a Love is Blind DC, every guy would look like Jared from Subway.
100%.
And all the women would be just like, I don't know what they would be like. They'd be wearing a pantsuit.
Yeah.
And they'd be angry.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah. Or when with like the top knots that
Yeah.
and like a North Face.
They would have like a lot of self-importance and armpit hair probably.
That's
Yeah.
They'd all be from Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. They'd all be the smartest girl from their town in Ohio. I feel like the prettiest girl from like whatever random town in Ohio goes to LA, and the one who was like too smart to get along with everybody comes to DC.
No, I feel like every
Valedictorian.
student council president,
That's
you're
right.
the president of your student council, you live in Washington.
That's
DC.
right.
And
That's
you
right.
complain about comedy shows.
That's right. And yell at me if I don't throw away my dog's poop in the right trash can, which has happened to me a lot. Not that I throw it away, in the right trash can.
I always put mine in the recycling bin. Like my
Yeah.
own poop, not my dog.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, on that note, we want to thank Nicole and Jamie for being on our podcast. Where can the people find you? What shows are you doing? Where can people find you on social media?
I started using TikTok and I'm making little videos of my stand-up, which is fun. I'm trying to make them ridiculous with like stickers and
They
music.
are really funny. You guys should watch them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Jamie, where can we buy your book?
The Slappening is now on Amazon. And you can buy it on Kindle as well. Or if you're local, you can send me a message and I'll deliver you a signed copy.
Wow.
It might even be free if I don't get better at being a server.
I would like to buy a signed copy, please.
Okay, I'll hand deliver it.
Yeah. I will not accept. I will not accept it for free. I would like to buy a signed copy.
We're actually going to like a book, like different, we're going to go around to different like horror things and conventions and stuff to sell it. So it'll be really fun. And then I'm hoping while we do that we can do stand up wherever we are to kind of scope out
Yeah.
different spots.
Oh, that'll be cool.
Hopefully move out of this area at some point, but it's
'Cause-
just hard to decide where to go.
I know.
So,
We've talked about this. We're all up in that too.
Yeah, because it's a cool thing to plug. I feel like a lot of comics, like if you produce a special or you have a special, because I never even thought of this before. I've been plugging the book after a stand-up set, and I actually do sell a couple copies, and that like adds up over time.
Oh, nice. And you don't see a lot of comics selling books after their set. So I think that's like a
Yeah.
cool thing to do.
I want to
Yeah.
start plugging his book because I want to get 20% of the sales. So it'll be pure. Oh, it's 5 now.
5%.
5%. I'll take it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks so
And-
much for coming on Countercurrents.
And I will say this too. So all this coming week, I will be in Florida rolling around with Hennessy Williams III and taking care of business. Then March 19th, 7 p.m. If you're anywhere near Denton, Maryland, that's on the way to the beach out Route 50.
Oh yeah, I'll be there too.
You'll be at that too?
Yeah.
Denton, Maryland, Market Street Public House?
Oh no, I'm doing the winery.
Oh,
Oh no, I'm not doing. Oh, I didn't know you were doing that.
Yeah, I was
I-
doing it.
He asked me to do that show, and I said no because Denton, Maryland's far. Not for anybody around here. If you'd like to go, it's a nice 2-hour drive.
Our fan base in Denton, if you want to show up, I'm there. Mike Quinlan's there. We're each doing like 20, $10, 15 at the show, but should be fun. 100 people out in the middle of nowhere, and we're gonna have a blast.
Nice. Okay, yeah, let's promote. And if you guys want to see me, I'll be at Arlington Draft House, opening for Michael Costa on March 18th and 19th. And then I'm going to be in New York at the Grizzly Pear doing a bunch of spots the weekend of the 24th, 25th, and 26th of March. So check that out. All
Fantastic.
right. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks.